Hello, welcome. Thanks for attending. This is our first um, community forum, Reentry Community Forum in person since 2019. And we are really kind of thrilled to have people, being able to be here together and kind of network a little bit. And it's great to be back here in person. So when we did it online, you guys could control your own restroom issues at home, but the restrooms are down the hall. And we have some water bottles on the side tables if you want it. Also be sure to, when you have a chance, to check out the flyers and information from Interfaith Community Services, Persevere, and Bridges to Life, as well as Second Chance Tucson. Grab a bunch of them, spread them out in the community, and see what kind of trouble we can cause. All right. Second Chance Tucson, we've been doing this since 2014. We are dedicated to serving the justice system involved community and helping them transition from custodial settings back to community. We have 4 subcommittees. We have the employment subcommittee, which is our biggest one, which will be working to plan our job fair, which is be coming up on Thursday, August 7th, from noon to 4 p.m. And we'll be doing orientation sessions in advance of that. We have our volunteer activities committee where we set up events at where the system involved people and other community members can work on a community minded project. We have a speakers bureau where we have about 10 people with lived experience of incarceration who go to various, service groups, faith-based groups, churches, and industry groups to tell their story and humanize the issue of getting involved in our criminal justice system. And the 4th subcommittee is the Community Forum Subcommittee, and they're responsible for today. During COVID, we did do 4 community forums online, and those online forums are available on our YouTube channel. This event will also be recorded, and down the road, we'll have that available if you wanted to share it with others. Today's program will feature 2 approaches to restorative justice, one in custody, custodial settings, and one in community. 2 approaches to job training programs, one in custody and one after release. And information about how the Pima County Health Department is responding to the health and wellness needs of marginalized, underserved people in Pima County, including justice system involved people. Yesterday was the 17th anniversary of the Second Chance Act. And when it was signed into law by President George W. Bush, he said, "America is the land of second chances, and when the gates of the prison open, the path ahead should lead to a better life." Second Chance Tucson is dedicated to making that path easier to get on and overcome barriers to success. So we're going to start with a presentation about restorative justice. Emmanuel Fahey is the restorative justice coordinator for the Pima County Attorney's Office, and she is assisted by Serafin Caraballo. They will discuss the program over at the Pima County Attorney's Office. Restorative justice concepts are as old as time and fairly prominent in indigenous communities, but have only recently begun to be implemented in the American criminal justice system. Emmanuel and Serafin will help us learn more about the advantages of the restorative justice. Thank you.
All right. Hi, everybody. Welcome. Thanks for being here. My name is Emmanuel Fahey. Yeah, as Judge Pyle said, I'm the restorative justice coordinator.
I'm Serafin, and I'm the victim advocate assigned to the restorative justice program.
And we're just here to talk to you briefly about how the program runs. It started November 2023. It's inspired by many other programs across the United States that run restorative justice programs. Sometimes they can be within county departments or outside. Best practice is that it sits with a community-based organization, but we're doing our best to get it there within the office. So we started within the prosecutor's office, and we'll just dive in. Yeah, so I guess I can just set up the big idea right now. We run it's a post-charge diversion program, and it's a program that brings eligible defendants, who we call responsible parties, together in a restorative justice circle with victims who want to participate. And so they get to talk about what happened, the incident, the harm that was caused, and together in a consensus with community members who are volunteers, they're trained folks who sit in and sort of express the ripple effect of harmful behavior on the community. They come together in a group consensus to figure out ways in which that responsible party can hold themselves accountable. So it's about really centralizing the needs of people who are directly harmed by crime. And it's this day, we're able to really run it as a community-led program. It's led by trained volunteers, so it sits outside of the justice system, which is kind of, it's a little bit of cognitive dissonance because I'm within the county attorney's office, but the whole process itself really sits outside of the office. There are no attorneys, there are no judges. I'm not even in the room. I just sort of help coordinate the actual process. And then if folks in the circle can come to an agreement, then the charge is dismissed and the victim gets their needs actualized. They get to be the ones that really define what they would like to see be done in order for their needs to be met, right?
Yeah, and being in a prosecutor's office, there's the Victims' Bill of Rights, which is codified in the Arizona Constitution. So kind of my role in all of it is trying to make sure that we, as much as possible with restorative justice system, with the restorative justice program being non-system based, we try to bring as many of those victim rights that are codified into law into the program, and really trying to center victim needs and making sure that we're honoring their point of view in the process. So that's kind of where I come in communicating with the victims and making sure that they understand what restorative justice is, because it is a very unique concept for a lot of people, especially in the United States. Not many people are aware of what restorative justice is. We're kind of, there's plenty of media out there. I'm sure we've all seen Law and Order, of how things go. There's an investigation and then it goes to court and somebody is sentenced and punished. And so it's really interesting working with victims and trying to communicate to them what restorative justice is, and see, if it's something that works for them. At the end of the day, we want to make sure that they're doing what's best for themselves and centering them in the process. But not every victim wants to go through the criminal justice system, and they do want more restorative practices instead of the kind of punitive, retributive model that we're used to.
And what's really neat about this process is that, it's largely evidence-based, and there's aggregate studies that show that for responsible parties, defendants that want to participate, recidivism rates go down. And it's tied to many factors, one of them being, from the beginning, we serve as a really warm handoff to provide them with social services. It's part of the design is really targeting the root causes of harmful behavior. So I'll have peer support sit in with folks that would like that if there are mental health and/or substance use disorder factors related to the case. I build relationships with service providers in the county and surrounding area. Even in Ajo, I have a participant right now in Ajo. So we're building those relationships so that I can sort of act as the case manager on the front and back end to get folks connected. And sometimes, if the warm handoff isn't necessarily, if they're not interested at the beginning, it can maybe become part of that accountability agreement when folks who are participating in the restorative justice circle decide that, part of the harm might stem from maybe getting some residential treatment or getting connected to workforce development. I have no parameters of what goes into that agreement. It's really the folks who are sitting in on that circle, but there is a process to it to define really what those harms are. So that's really neat. And then I would say really, I don't want to jump too ahead because Sedefine has a really good point on this, but a lot of folks will say, oh, isn't this a slap on the wrist for defendants? And the answer is no. From what I have read and what I have been able to hear after the circles is that it is certainly not, because sitting there and hearing the impact of the harm and having to face the person that you did harm, putting that face to the incident can be very, very difficult, right? We can all think of a time that we have had to sincerely apologize and how difficult that was. And so taking responsibility by listening to the impact and responding to it is that unique element that's part of this process. And that goes into why participants who are a part of RJ are more likely to pay back restitution. They're less likely to recidivate. It's tied to like intrinsic motivation and behavior change on that intrinsic level of like wanting to hold yourself accountable. And I could go on and on. There's really good reads on that. If anyone is interested, I can send it to you. What else?
Well, one thing about working with victims is you have to really think on the fly. So I think maybe what we can do is just work. I have the presentation up on my phone, and we can work from it and try to paint the pictures with our words as best as we can. But so we're going to probably repeat a couple of things since we were riffing, but the kind of where I wanted to start is that when a crime occurs, the journey for a victim it's a long journey. And there are kind of two predominant paths that victims can take. They can take a system-based path or a non-system-based path, and a mixture of both. The system-based path is the criminal justice system, and I'm sure a lot of us in this room are familiar with it. It's what we see on TV. It's what we see in real life with judges, attorneys, charges, things of that nature. Within the criminal justice system, you have the victims' rights that I was talking about that are codified into law. Some of the big things that we work with at our office are, the right for a victim to attend, the right for them to give input to a judge at sentencing, things like that. But not all victims want that. Not all victims want that punitive, retributive path. And what restorative justice does is it does fill that gap. There's been a really big gap in the criminal justice system for a long time, where it's this or this. You can go forward with charges or you cannot. And sometimes even if they don't want to go forward with charges, they still go forward. Restorative justice is that non-system based path where a victim who does want to see some accountability, but they don't want that retributive, punitive model, they can get that in restorative justice. And every victim's definition of justice is different. Every victim is unique. And restorative justice really honors that, because it gives the victim a venue to determine, or at least be a part of the conversation on how things work out. Where in the criminal justice system, as much as it has been possible, the state has tried to give the victim a role, but there's still a lot of things lacking there. And restorative justice is a good place for that.
Judge Kyle, how much time do we have?
5 minutes, 5.
Yeah, I'll just say that, this practice certainly was not invented by a Western context. It really takes its foundational roots from peacemaking processes from indigenous communities, specifically the Maori and the Native people of North America. And so we always like to give that sort of special thank you, and to know that it's this process really has a deep layer of gratitude to those peacemaking processes. But really it came up I don't want to give too much, back into the history, but it comes from this criminologist, Howard Zare, from a Western lens, and he was really looking at our justice system and seeing this void of, defendants aren't really able to hold themselves accountable and speak directly to the person if they want to. And so that's why many counties are putting in these processes now. And it's neat. We've had 5 completed circles and some others related to cases, and we're coming up on 5 more. And there have been some very impactful outcomes. We've worked with estranged family members who were not speaking to each other, who were able to come together and have very meaningful conversation. We work with felony property crimes. So all felonies in Arizona face potential jail time. So this is a real alternative to incarceration. And those cases have been largely successful. I've closed out 2, and I'm working on closing out 2 more. And the one that was not able to, we weren't actually able to get it off the ground. And so that has been really exciting, and I'm excited to see where it goes from here.
So when you're talking about the opportunity to kind of face up to and take some personal responsibility, one of my favorite books for people going through the reentry process, it's an older book now, it's 2012, it was called Never Going Back, 7 Steps to Staying Out of Prison by Hassan Latif. And step 1 is own your own crap. And I suspect that's an important part of what you guys are trying to do, right?
Yeah, absolutely. The process never we never say you have to apologize, but oftentimes that's sort of like the beautiful byproduct, like owning it and saying, yeah, I did that and I'm sorry.
That's such a big, and Emmanuel kind of touched on it too, where a lot of the obstacles that we have with victims is where they say, I don't want him to get off easily. I don't want him to get that slap on the wrist. But like Emmanuel said, if you guys can think back on a time where you had to sit down and truly apologize, look somebody in the eyes and say that you're sorry, it is tough work. It is tough work to be held accountable in that way. And that's where there's high satisfaction for victims too, where they get to have that true apology, because it rarely comes in the criminal justice system, to be honest with you. It really does. And that's where it's an accountability centered model, and you do have to own your crap.
I would think that victims don't want to see other people victimized too, and that would be an important outcome for them. And then the use of the circles, that's a pretty different geometry than the rest of the criminal justice system, where you're across the desk from a probation officer or you're looking up at a judge. It was always amazed me how surprised people were that they finally realized how tall I was when they saw me off the bench. But everything is kind of directly confrontational as opposed to the circle. Are you guys offended by the fact that Goodwill and half dozen other agencies in this room are starting to buy into this whole circle format, this circle concept? You see but it's a really valuable tool, right, for what you're trying to do.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the more organizations that can use the circle process, the better, because we find that when Sedefine is calling victims to say, this is an opportunity, would you like this? More often than not, they don't know what restorative justice is. And so he really works with them to open up that window of getting them to understand the concept before maybe there's like a trigger response of absolutely not, or right, to have a thorough understanding of what the benefits could be for them. So yeah, more awareness of that process and utilization, I think is excellent. Also, I just wanted to shout out Joelle. She's our fantastic facilitator. She runs the circles. Sorry to embarrass you, Joelle, but give credit where it's due.
Yeah. And I assume that you seem to get along okay, well enough that you'd be willing to do presentations for other groups to spread the word about restorative justice, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. But maybe the two of you could just wrap up with a minute, one comment for a minute, and then we'll kick you off the stage.
Well, I wanted to see if anybody had any questions.
Well, that's a
Do
good,
that right now.
anybody have questions? Yes,
What motivated you guys to get into such a field? What was your initial inspiration?
Yeah, well, great question. This was the vision of Pima County Attorney Laura Conover. She wanted specifically to bring it to Pima County. But it is sort of my dream job because I have always wanted to work at this intersection of like policy change and direct service. I previously was the case manager for our awesome refugee community in Tucson. And then this is like, it's a paradigm shift. And that's a really exciting space to be in, right? To be like, yeah, and I never thought I would work for a prosecutor's office ever. And here I am, and it's been so great. It's because you just get a deeper, more nuanced understanding of what they work with, right? And what they do. And so I've learned a lot.
Yeah, for me, I actually did graduate work on restorative justice in college, and within restorative justice is a lot of work with victims. And as you do after college, I was applying for jobs and saw that there was a victim advocacy position open, and I applied to it. And I got it, and it so happened that Emmanuel was starting the restorative justice program. So I got assigned to it. I have very supportive leadership, and they heard that I liked it. And part of the reason I like it is because it's such a paradigm shift. In a courtroom setting, the focus isn't on the stakeholders. It's on the law. It's on what law was broken. In restorative justice, the focus is on what was the harm and how can we fix it. And that puts victims and the responsible parties right in the center and putting the stake back with the stakeholders.
Thank you.
take one more question here. Why don't you go, sir? And
You mentioned the courtroom setting. What is the setting to produce the same amount of security with a victim and in the environment where you do the circles?
Yeah, so well, there's a couple of things we do. The facilitators will work with each participant separately in what we call pre-circle meetings, and that can happen more than once to really get them to understand the process, to talk about what happened, and to brainstorm ways in which the harm can be repaired. So the idea is that there's no big surprises in the circle, and those sort of emotions can be worked out. Not to say that there won't be like high tension when a circle happens, but that's really helpful. And then there's other sort of more pragmatic things that we think about, including like, making sure that I have Narcan in the car if that's needed. If somebody is, if that ever becomes an issue. We work at the Ward 6 building, and we do that because I want to really maintain a safe space for participants, especially our responsible parties. The more vulnerability and authenticity they can provide to the conversation, the better the conversation, the more the victims get out of it. And so I'm always thinking of ways in which we can really create like a safe space. And that also goes into providing ongoing skill building for our volunteers. We do trauma-informed care, and we practice a lot throughout the year. So yeah, things like that. Does that answer your question? We can do over Zoom too. We've done Zoom if that's more comfortable.
Andy, did you have something?
Yeah, just a quick one. What type of offenses come within the program?
We've done criminal damage, we've done theft of means, so car theft, fraud, credit card fraud. I've just accepted a case, second and third degree burglaries. Yeah, that's pretty much the list for right now.
Well, thanks to Emmanuel and Seraphine for presenting this new initiative, and I want to thank County Attorney Conover for having the courage to pursue this new way of looking at criminal justice. So, thanks for your presentation today, and hopefully you'll be bothered by some of these people that want further presentations.
Great.
What is it like to engage a community inside the prison to bring hope and healing, regardless of your walk, regardless of your faith, regardless of your background? What can I do to serve these incarcerated men and women and change lives, change family dynamic?
How I got involved is due to the fact that I'm a victim of crime. My dad hired 2 men to kill my mom and my 2 brothers and I, and my brothers and I did not get murdered, but my mom did. And about a year later, my dad was arrested and convicted and sentenced to the death penalty.
And so I took Bridges to Life back in 2010 at the LeBlanc unit of TDCJ, and it was transforming for me. It was an amazing program. When I first went in, I think the thing that made the most impact was seeing the faithfulness of the volunteers who went in and week out and gave of their time. And it made me ask the question of myself, why would they leave their job, their family, their home to come visit me in prison? And I think out of all of the things that could have impacted me, it was seeing those volunteers come in, week out, share their stories of how they had been a victim of crime. And it helped to make me want to never hurt anyone ever again.
I had no idea what I was getting into. I just wanted to give it a try. But when I walked in and they closed those metal gates behind me the first time, I was wondering if I'd made a mistake. But I stayed with it, and then after I retired from teaching, a few years later, John Sage called me and asked me if I wanted to come work for Bridges to Life, and I said yes. So now when I recruit people, that's a part of my job, and sometimes it's difficult to recruit women because they always ask me if I'm afraid. And I always say, I am not afraid. They always say that Jesus does not call the prepared. He prepares those he called, and the way he prepared me was to take away all my fear and put the love for those men and the women that I work with into my heart. And really, that's what I find that's all that's necessary.
Helped me really open my heart. Like I'm not really a people person or like to talk about closed wounds, but when I took Bridges to Life, it helped me realize that I had a lot of hurt and anger, mostly towards my father. But it helped me realize that I never really truly forgave him. So I took Bridges to Life, and I was able to come to the surface of what's in my heart, and I was able to let that go.
We have to make changes in our life. It allowed me to confess a lot of the things that I have done, confess things that were done to me. Bridges of Life allowed me to look into my life and just pull out some of those darkest secrets that we keep bottled up and keep hidden. And it allowed us to forgive and to ask for forgiveness for a lot of the things we've done.
This has been a very impactful program for me, for it gave me insight into some of the things that at one time I would not have looked into. And things that I've done, I've come to learn how to forgive myself. I thank John Sage for the program. I thank the volunteers for their coming and their participation and their support. And I thank all the victims that come in and share their stories. So I look forward to the day upon my release that I would be able to be reunited and joined again to society, so that I may one day be made an impact and be impactful in other people's lives.
Well, I started volunteering as a speaker first, and then I started participating every week. We meet in small groups for about 2 hours. And what it looks like to participate is every volunteer and every offender receives a Restoring Peace book. And each week, the offenders will read the book and a chapter of the book. And it's really stories. It's crime victim stories as well as offender stories that have graduated our program. And the way that it's set up, they also get a study guide. And the Bridges to Life study guide, again, is 14 weeks. And every week, they will have a scripture reading because we are a faith-based organization. Now, we're not trying to convert somebody to a particular faith, but we are faith-based, and so every week there are scriptures that pertain to the topic, and our topics include accountability, responsibility, repentance, confession, forgiveness, reconciliation. And so each week they will have some scriptures that pertain to the topic, and then there's a quote of the week, there's a word of the week, and then what happens is the offenders will answer the questions before they come to class. But the volunteer role is to facilitate a group discussion. So we're not there to lecture or to preach, we're there to listen.
Hello, everyone. You guys hear me? Okay. My name is
A
Christy.
little closer, Christy.
Oh, closer.
Move the microphone closer to you. Great, thank you.
Okay. My name is Christy Hope Tillman. And it's an honor to be here today representing Bridges to Life. I want to thank Miss Miranda Campos for connecting Mr. Hope Tillman and myself with Judge Pyle and with the Second Chance Tucson. I believe we have a joint effort to achieve a common objective, which is returning citizens never return to the community of the incarcerated. I recently read a definition of teamwork. Teamwork divides the task, multiplies the success. What is my task? My task in the prison, in the BTL group, is to listen, to facilitate group discussions, to stay on track with the marvelous, I will say, to stay on track with the BTL curriculum that offers opportunity for healing, for victims, and for offenders. It is a self-study and a God study. The path presented in the curriculum, which is faith, responsibility, accountability, confession, repentance, forgiveness, restitution, and reconciliation. This path leads to healthy relationship with self, others, and God. Proverbs chapter 2, verse 20 says, quote, "So you will walk in the way of good people and keep to the path of the righteous." Please take note. A person walking on a righteous path does not commit crime. My motivation, personal motivation, for becoming a BTL, a Bridges to Life volunteer, is simple: to serve God, and to have the opportunity to tell my story. I love to tell my story. It is a story of God's healing power, of Him pulling me out of darkness and into His light, literally. It is an amazing story. His story, actually, of His saving grace. I was a victim of a violent crime in 1982. I was stabbed several times, twice in the heart. I was flown in by helicopter to a trauma hospital. I was pronounced medically dead on the operating table. My family was told after I had the surgeries, we don't know if she's going to make it. It's a 50-50 chance. I lost the use of my left hand until surgery. And the surgery happened about 2 years after the assault. It was paralyzed like this for over 2 years. Now I have partial use of this hand. The emotional and psychological damage was far worse than the physical pain. I hated everyone. I blamed God. I wanted revenge. I created my own prison with so many lies. I was not someone that people wanted to be around. When I look at the curriculum now of Bridges to Life, I can see the healing process that He, God, gave me through His Word. I have had the amazing privilege to witness to the BTL members, the inmates in the prison, to witness the BTL members engage in a process that teaches them how to love. They tell their life stories. They listen to the victim stories and other offender stories. They learn how to wonder about others' feelings and goals. They learn to take their focus off of themselves and put their focus on others, their fellow group members. They become spiritual brothers. There is an excitement in the room. They are eager learners. Please be in prayer for the Bridges to Life program in Arizona. Mr. Hope Tillman and I are the only facilitators in the state. We would love to see other volunteer-led programs, not only in Tucson at the Tucson unit, but in other units across Arizona. Please pray that we can spread our hope-filled curriculum in the Arizona Department of Corrections. So please feel free to see me or Mr. Hope Tillman after this event if you would like additional information. We will be at the booth or at the table. We also have contact forms if you think you might be interested in becoming a volunteer. Thank you.
Yeah, did you have something you'd like to add?
Just about 5 minutes. Make sure I can be heard. I'm neither a victim nor a perpetrator. I'm just a volunteer. And so I just want to make clear that you don't have to be, well, this is restorative justice. And we do invite victims to come and help us out in this process. And it's very critical to the process. Okay. It brings a kind of an honesty to the program that can't be brought any other way. We do most of it through videotaping at this time, but Christy does her story. She'll be giving it in a couple of weeks with our group that we're doing right now. And we are the first group to do this in Arizona. Took 2 years to get certification through the state of Arizona for us to do our first session. So there is a process. And it's a hard process, but we encourage you to get involved in this. You'll not have anything more fulfilling that you do in your life, if you're Christian or non-Christian. Okay, so let me do this. So I am serving as a bondservant of the Lord Jesus Christ in a faith-based restorative justice program called Bridges to Life to bring about healing through this 14-week, 2-hour group session per week. What's the impact on the inmates? BTL has 3 parts, okay? It's a faith, methodology, not necessarily Christian faith, methodology, and stories. It's based on the Bible as text. You don't have to believe it's anything special. You can treat it as a book if you don't believe in Christianity or Judaism. And Christian teachings as principles, but does not require inmates to subscribe to Christianity to enroll. We have had Aztecs in our groups in the Cimarron unit, which you've heard some press about recently. It doesn't require inmates to subscribe to Christianity, to enroll, to attend, or graduate. One of the Aztec people did graduate, one of our highest performers. I feel the teachings of BTL are actually, though, the critical path of the gospel, and actually are the causal reverse requirements of succeeding principles. If you look at our outline of what goes on with the chapters of, and they were addressed a couple of times here, they logically are things that are necessary for relationships to be brought into correct relationships. If you want to fix relationships, these are the steps that have to be done for relationships with yourself, with your fellow man, and with God, if you believe in God. Now, we believe a belief in God is necessary because we just simply don't have all the answers. If you have all the answers, great. If you're an atheist, that is actually, we believe that's a faith. So you're welcome to come. We've had a couple atheists. And we actually invite them to pray. That's kind of interesting when they do. But so anyway, so what does the future look like? Okay, these inmates have done much to mess up the destinies that we believe God has planned for them from before they were born. BTL gives them a new destiny that's based on their needed restitutions. Restitutions often write a truly miraculous, powerful, gracious, and loving destiny that transforms not just them, but our whole world.
So, is all of your sessions been in Cimarron so far?
No, we've done let's see, we did Cimarron, or I guess that's for
Whetstone now? Right. So you've done very different classification settings.
that was a category 4, which is
Yeah.
probably your
Right.
one of your highest. There's category 5 restraints that are done in one other prison.
Right. And you found that the men there in the high security prison were very receptive to what you're talking about.
Yes.
They were if they could get to the classroom. But the difficulty with having the BTL at Cimarron was escort. They had to be escorted, each of them, by an officer to the room. And oftentimes, for whatever reasons, that didn't happen.
Right. So now
The
you're
attendance was poor.
now you're in a more open yard and you're not having that issue. Is that?
No,
Correct.
inmates can make it there on their own.
They usually get there early.
Right. And this is a national program.
Yes.
Oh, Chrissy, did you give the statistics?
I think Miss
They're
Cullen.
on the slide over here, but they've graduated over 79,000 participants and engaged over 3,500 volunteers across 17 states and 7 countries.
And this should sell a lot of people on this program. This recidivism rate is like 67% for the average inmate leaving prison. This is for BTL is 14%.
In the state of Texas. There's not enough.
Nationwide. Go ahead.
Okay, I was told the stats were for Texas.
All right.
There may be updates on this.
Does anybody have a question for Christie or Dan? Oh, Dan.
There's one over there.
Oh, yeah. Anything in West Virginia?
I don't.
What's the website for, I assume
registerlife.org.
registerlife.org, and you'll find out if they're one of the 17 states. Dan and Christie, thank you so much for being here today.
More questions?
Oh, I'm sorry.
When did you guys start in Arizona?
Yeah, I was curious.
He's good at our anniversary too. 2 years ago.
Did Emmanuel and Seraphine leave? Because we may need her back here to. Okay. Sergio, you had a question?
Never taken bridges to life to federal inmates.
Federal inmates?
It hasn't happened in Arizona. I'm not sure about the other states.
Okay. All right. Well, again, thank you so much for your presentation today, and Dan and Christie are going to stay around if you have some questions or want some more information. They have a lot of information over there next to the Persevere table.
Oh, one last thing. The inmates ask us, why do we do this? Inmates ask us. You know, and I have to be honest with you, the reason that we do it and keep doing it is that we lead this with these guys. But when you're leading us something like this, if you're a Christian, God talks to you. Okay? God will speak to you as you're reading these same stories in the Bible. God will speak to you.
All right.
And that is something that is incredible. Okay.
Yeah. It was a great program. Thank you. So Alyssa Smith is with Persevere. Persevere, are you in more than one unit? You're in more than one unit in the state prison system?
Yeah, so Persevere, we operate.
Well, I'll let you go ahead, but so Alyssa's with Persevere, and Tyler is one of the graduates. So they have a very unique kind of job training program in a carceral setting. So go ahead, Alyssa, take it away.
Okay, can everyone, okay, good. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Elisa Smith. I am honored to be here today as a representative of Persevere, a nonprofit organization dedicated to breaking cycles of poverty and incarceration through education and opportunity and community partnerships. As a family engaged specialist, I have the privilege of working directly with families impacted by incarceration. At Persevere, we believe that a second chance isn't just about individual redemption. It's about healing the entire family unit. When we invest in rebuilding lives, we sow the seeds for stronger and more supportive households that can weather any storm. Now, when most people hear about us, they think, oh, that organization that teaches people in prison how to code? Yes. And that's what we do. We offer full stack web development training inside correctional facilities. And we're incredibly proud of the tech skills our participants gained. But that's not the full story. Because let me ask you, what happens when someone finishes that training, gets out, and then can't find housing? What happens when they've navigated addiction or trauma or can't get transportation to a job interview? What if they've never been shown how to write a resume or even a bank account or ask for help? A job is important, but it doesn't fix everything. That's what makes Persevere different. We believe in treating the whole person because people aren't broken. They've navigated systems that weren't built to support them. So yes, we teach tech, but we also walk with our participants every step of the way through reentry with case management, mental health support, peer mentoring, transportation, house connections, and so much more. In Arizona, the recidivism rate, which is the rate that which people return to prison, is around 40%. But for our graduates, it's about 3%. Before I conclude, I'd like to share this thought. Let us commit to fostering an environment where every returning citizen can reclaim their future, where families can come together and support one another, and where community partnerships light the path of lasting change. Now I will turn it over to Tyler.
Hello, everyone. I just want to start out by saying way more people here than I was expecting, and I forgot my speech at home. So I'll do my best here. Oh, that's a picture of me up in front. That's all the guys from my class. I've been out of prison about 4 months now. I was released from Red Rock November 27th, the day before Thanksgiving. But this isn't even part of my speech, actually. It's just that right there, out of everything that I have, is probably my biggest inspiration and one of my most prized possessions. Sorry, I'm gonna cry. The struggles that I went through in prison were nothing compared to how hard it was getting through the class that I went through. And we were fortunate enough, that's actually a picture of everybody in the class. And that was the last day that we all had together in the class, that we would have had an opportunity to get the one photograph of all of us standing in the same room at the same time. And I had to appeal from a CO up to an assistant warden, all the way up to a warden, and actually had the warden come down and take that photograph of us, which is super rare to get photographs if you guys are incarcerated, and let alone have them print out a copy of that photograph and give a copy of it to everybody in my class. But that hangs on my refrigerator door, and every morning when I wake up and I go and I get my cup of coffee and I reach for my creamer, I look at that photograph, and I never want to be back in Orange, but that's one of the best moments and most cherished possessions of my entire life. So let me get on my speech. Sorry. Good afternoon. Before I begin, I'd like to take a moment and thank everyone here for not just attending, but for the dedication, passion, and commitment and effort you all put into giving people like myself an opportunity to right our wrongs and get another chance at living a life of prosperity and happiness. It's an honor to be here to speak with you today. Allow me to introduce myself. Not that I didn't already do that, but my name is Tyler Weathrich, Arizona Department of Corrections inmate number 362103. In March of 2022, I was convicted of aggravated assault with a deadly weapon and sentenced to a 2.5-year prison sentence. I was horrified at the confinement of prison and truly thought that my life was over. And I wouldn't really realize just how over that part of my life was until much, much later. I'd like to think today that I'm a pretty outstanding person. But I'm willing to bet that if you guys had met me 3 years ago, you probably wouldn't have liked me very much. And to be honest with you, the truth is I didn't really like myself very much either. But according to the state of Arizona, I was just an individual who decided to use some bad judgment with a firearm. But what they didn't know was that me and my drug addiction had already spent years together running around town as an arsonist. We were actively burning just about every bridge I came across, and there was no end in sight. I was also a murderer. Careful. I was also a murderer. Together, my addiction and I had killed nearly every professional, personal, and romantic relationship I had had. Next thing I knew, I arrived on the yard at Red Rock Correctional and found myself looking up from the bottom of this massive hole that I dug for myself, and quickly realized that I had nothing. I had no friends. I had no family. I had no money. I had no way to contact anybody. Only one person kind of really knew where I was. And then I realized, I kind of looked around and I realized, wow, I don't even have my shovel I used to dig this hole with to get myself here. I had nothing. During the first few months of my incarceration, I was introduced to the program called Persevere. For those of you who aren't familiar, Persevere is an intensive 12-month-long, 7-hour-a-day, 5-day-a-week, full-stack web development and computer coding bootcamp offered to incarcerated men and women. Yes, men and women. We have a program in place at the Perryville facility here in Arizona, too. And we're not just a local Arizona type thing. We're across the United States. Since its inception in 2014, the program has seen nearly 600 graduates and has a postgraduate recidivism rate of, sorry to knock your numbers, but of 1.8%, compared to the Arizona's average recidivism rate over a 4-year period of 37%. With enough hard work and determination, those that graduate don't just learn how to write code and build websites. Every last tool needed for someone coming out of incarceration to truly thrive in any career at all is 110% provided in abundance, and I am definitely living proof of that. The program offers full wraparound services for those who participate. Those services start the moment the inmate walks into the classroom and follows them well into their return to society, especially in my case. These services range from full career readiness courses to family reunification services. They even provide graduates with a laptop, allowing them to continue their journey upon release. I got one. It was waiting there for me when I got home. And that's just a few of the 8 different types of services they offer. I'm proud to stand here before you today and be able, well, I'm sitting, but I'm proud to stand here before you today and be able to say not only that I was one of 18 inmates that was selected for the Red Rock program, I'm also one of 15 graduates. Going to prison was undoubtedly my turning point, but my participation in the Persevere program provided me with a light at the end of the tunnel, although it was really small. With a personally unprecedented amount of effort, and yes, you guessed it, perseverance, I have turned that little light at the end of a tunnel into what I can only hope others will see as more of a lighthouse. Before I continue, I want to point out something. There's Callie Unruh sitting here in the front row, and Elisa Smith have been super supportive. And I didn't follow along the typical path of a Persevere graduate, which is getting into the software development and coding industry. And I just I feel it's necessary and important to point out that not just these 2 people, but the rest of the entire Persevere community has 100% supported me in any way, shape, or form that I've needed. Everything from getting me to and from my probation and parole appointments to everything else I've needed. So they support 110% of what you want to do. So sorry. Some of you may be asking yourselves, why would I compare myself to a lighthouse, and what does that have to do with software engineering? Well, thanks to a chance meeting with Mr. George Nolan, I realized that you could make a career out of motivating, inspiring, and helping others, much like you guys have. It was then that I made the decision halfway through the program that instead of a career in software development, I would instead finish the program and pursue a career in helping others overcome the struggles of addiction and the struggles of incarceration and help them to achieve their true potential. I've stuck with that decision with full 100% support from the Persevere staff and its community of countless supporters and associates. I stand before you today as living proof that 100% change is absolutely possible. Nothing makes my life feel more complete than be able to act as a beacon of inspiration for others and who may have found themselves surrounded in darkness and searching for light at the end of their own personal tunnel. It has been an honor to speak with you today. Allow me to reintroduce myself. Oh, sorry. Moment. My name is Tyler Reentry. Not only am I a Persevere graduate, but I'm a certified full stack software developer. I'm also a certified peer recovery support specialist working at America's Rehab Campus. I now have my driver's license for the first time. Sorry, this is the reason why you guys do what you guys do. I now have my driver's license for the first time in 14 years. Like, my SR-22 payment came out of my bank account. I was like, look at me being an adult. I also carry my emergency first aid, CPR, and AED certifications, and I've only been out of prison 4 months. I can honestly say that without Persevere and amazing programs like it, especially like the ones that you guys help operate, run, and facilitate, I wouldn't be where I'm at today. Or as they say, Persevere, we change lives one line of code at a time. Thank you very much. Thank you, guys. If anybody has any questions.
Does anybody have any questions?
All right, awesome. That means I answered all the questions. What's up, man?
Did they start that program in there?
This program, they run on like a year to year. They kind of toggle and bounce around for different facilities. We're what, 6?
Yeah, so the program actually started in Tennessee as an experiment. And so it went from Tennessee and then boom, it went to Arizona and then boom, now we have 5 facilities here in Arizona that we program out of.
Red Rock has been for like 4 cohorts.
Yeah, Red Rock has had 4 cohorts. We program on Whetstone, Perryville, Cibola, Red Rock, and Yuma. Yuma as well.
You got me beat there. And for anybody who is wondering, how is it possible to teach inmates how to write code on a computer in prison? The logistics behind it are really crazy. But we actually, the gentleman on the screen there, that is our teacher for class. So we have a CO that comes in and sits in that nice little cage right behind there and kind of keeps an eye on us and makes sure we behave ourselves. We talk to a guy through headsets, through a TV screen that's in the middle of the classroom. And then we all sit around the perimeter and go through lessons and go through coursework. Like if it really came down to it, I could build you guys a Facebook. I could build you guys a Cash App. I could build you guys a website. I could build you guys a Messenger app. And those are the skills that these guys leave prison with. And it's undoubtedly there are moments that I go through during my day as a recovery support specialist where I'm like, how am I ever going to get all this done? And I fall back on that. And it's just like, I did way more stuff than this at Persevere. It was way harder and way more difficult. And I still made it through. So yeah. Any other questions? Yes, sir.
As far as what people can participate, I mean, is it people that are close to release or? Open to anybody?
Yeah.
Go for it.
Okay. So individuals, first of all, we have a whole interview process. And so you have to be at least 2, we will accept individuals with at least 2 years to the gate. But there is an interview process. And then once we interview you, then the class will start and then you get a full year of services inside. And then once you are released, you get a full year of wraparound services. I also think something to point out is that these guys are doing this inside of the prisons without any internet. Like
Yeah.
they're learning all of this and code is no joke. I have tried to do it myself and I was like, yeah, no, can't
It's a
do it.
lot.
It's so much, but yeah. Any other questions that you have? I'd be happy to.
In the back?
Yes.
So, it sounds like you took a coding program and then you went out into the real world and now you're working in recovery. But are you telling me that overcoming the challenges of you learning to code in prison gave you the confidence to do what you do in real life? Because obviously you're not working in coding, but the value of learning the coding compared to what you took into real life.
Absolutely, without a doubt. There are an abundance of coding related jobs available out there when you first get started, or like you have to accept an entry level position. But thanks to meeting my mentor, George Nolan, over at New Freedom, who is one of our mentors within the program, I decided like halfway through, I saw the smile on this guy's face and I saw the joy that comes from within this man.
You love George.
And yeah, so you know George Nolan. Okay, yeah. So I was introduced to George Nolan for the first time, and I realized I was like, that's what I want to do. And now I'm a recovery support specialist and behavioral health technician over at the ARC. So I get to help people that have been through incarceration, that have been through drug addiction, that have been through homelessness on a daily basis. And it's my way of not just giving back, but also like I'm proud to be where I'm at and proud to have been in prison. It's the only place in the world where I'd be able to go into a job interview and I'd be able to say, I've got 14 years of drug addiction. I don't have my driver's license. I'm almost there, but I just got out of prison and they're like, you're perfect. And I looked around and I'm like, where am I? So yeah, any other questions?
Is there job placement available too? Like, do you guys have like job placement?
Oh, if there's something that you need as a Persevere graduate, they've got it. 100%. Yeah, no, my family unfortunately dealt with a pretty tragic loss. We had a house burn down about 2 months before I got out, and Persevere helped support my family, and they made sure that we were provided with like new pillows and blankets. And oh yeah, when I say 100%, they cover you for anything you need. I've needed a ride at the last minute to get to my parole officer to make sure that I didn't miss my appointment. This woman right here, one phone call and it was taken care of. And you got me home. Yeah, and they made sure, she didn't personally go pick me up. Like they made sure that we had ride sharing stuff. I got out of there with so much love and support. It's honestly become a challenge to not be super over the top supportive and maintain a professional relationship with the people that I work with at my detox clinic now, because I receive so much support. It's hard for me to not be like super over the top supportive of them and still maintain that like professional boundary. So that's how much love and support that I got from the Persevere program. 100%.
And one last thing, is it grant funded?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
100% grant funded?
Some of our programs, yes, they run off of grants.
Government contract.
Grants and government contracts.
Well, thanks for providing all this information.
Thank you very much, sir.
For Persevere for providing such great services here for the people in Arizona.
Thank you.
One more question.
Yep.
So us three, we work for Department of Corrections.
Okay.
With the RSAT. I'm the RSAT treatment coordinator.
Yes, sir.
Holly, she's the reentry coordinator, and Tommy. So the individual that you're speaking about, Holly here, she's the one that trained him. I just wanted to.
You trained George?
Yeah.
I have, as a part of the Persevere program, I can tell you right now that if I send out a text message or I make a phone call or I have a need, it is 100% addressed to its fullest. And George is also a big part of that. I've called George. I've gotten a hold of George at like 5 o'clock in the morning. I was like, when I first got out, because I got out, it was Thanksgiving. And then like my first day at the house by myself, I messaged him. I was like, dude, I don't know what to do. Like, I don't know where to go. I don't know what to do. Like, what do I do? How do I engage myself? And he's like, start with a cup of coffee. Yeah.
So the question I actually have for you is.
Yes, sir.
How are you guys expanding through the different units? Do you have like plans for next year and maybe some ideas of what units you're planning on tackling next?
So right now, as far as like Arizona, well, we got Cibola, and then we are trying this new IT networking program within the Cibola yard. And so, but right now, we don't have any plans as far as an expansion for Arizona. However, in other states, like we've just picked up Nebraska, we picked up Florida, we have North Carolina, we have Virginia, we have Tennessee. As far as I think statewide, we're expanding in different states.
Having this, yep. Yeah, pretty much. Having the support of individuals like yourself with DOC is also crucially important, because being that I was at Red Rock on a private yard, we could have expanded further into that program, but unfortunately got a lot of pushback from places like Red Rock. So having something at a DOC yard is extremely important. And one of the things that's important to note about code is constantly evolving and changing. It's an ever-growing language and it's an ever-learning language. So our curriculum and our courses are going to have to change gradually over time. But having somebody that's supportive, having an entity that's behind us that's supportive, like we need DOC to be, would be super crucial, especially in getting into some of the other yards.
And if you guys have any other questions, we will be outside of our table. And so just feel free to like pop in and ask us more questions. But thank you guys so much for everything.
Thank you very much, guys.
Goodwill has a wonderful program that is for people who are on release status. Tawana Brown manages the Goodwill retail store, which I highly recommend that you visit on it's like north of Ina on Oracle, right? On the
Oracle and Ina.
at the east side of it, and it's a wonderfully run store. And Francisco Baron Ortega is one of her employees now, but he had a story to go through to get there. So Cisco, do you want to start off and kind of tell your story a little bit, and then Tawana can explain how you've been doing it at the store.
Hi guys, my name is Francisco, and so I was released February 5th of 2024, and it was a little rough to find a job as soon as I got out, only because I felt like everywhere I went, it was kind of like they felt like it was a little bit of judgment, you know, like they didn't want to hire me. And even though I had those set of skills and everything, they weren't, you know, it was no budge. So luckily I ran into the Goodwill program, which they had a second chance reentry program. And I was like, okay, what's this? So they showed me how to get, how to do my resumes, how to switch up. I mean, basically what it was, because me, you know, coming from just being a bad, you know, not ever having the right guidance. As soon as I got there, they put me onto the right path. They showed me how to switch up the product, basically is what it was. So what it was, you know, switch up the product was what it was. And so I really wanted to be, honestly, my thing was I wanted to be a plumber. I got into it. They had you know, they showed me where to go. They gave me a job at XL Mechanical, and I did that for 2 weeks. And then right away I was like, you know what? I don't want to be a plumber. I thought, you know, I was gonna be like working with like, you know, pipe. No, they wanted me to dig, and I was like, you know, never mind. So then I wind up getting linked up with another fella that had his own business. And I started working with him, and right away I started learning how to do electrical, how to do, you know, plumbing, do everything. And that was what I was like, okay, cool. Things didn't work out with him, you know, some whatever, he had lost a good contract. So then next, you know, I went back to the Goodwill, and luckily they were there for me because you know, they know who I am, they know what I'm about. So they linked me up. I asked Lisa if she could give me a job because I was living at like a halfway house over on Casa Adobes. And I didn't even know there was a Goodwill right there. So I went to this Goodwill, and that's when I met Tawana. And then, so I got working there, and then I started learning how to do, because I went from construction to retail, you know, and retail, that's like, I thought, you know, it was like, I didn't know nothing about it. But then once I started learning about it, I was like, oh man, I know everything about it. I used to have these skills, you know what I mean? So right away, I put all that energy into there. And since then, I've picked up so much skills. Like I never knew how to cashier. I started cashiering, you know, learning about all the different types of products they have. Cause I don't know if you've been to this Goodwill, I'm gonna promote it. I'm gonna tell you right now, they got everything, all the best stuff, the best gear, Oracle and Ina. Don't miss out for reals. They got the best of the best. That's all we put out. And then, yeah, get rid of the rest is the saying, you know? So, but yeah, no, it's a great experience. Ever since then, I've been working it. They got me into school. They have bridge classes. I actually took one of them because I was trying to prepare for this, because this is my first time ever doing something like this. I'm gonna let you guys know right now. So yeah, and I was like, honestly, I wasn't even really prepared, but I was. You know, I did write a little something. I'll share it with you guys a little later. But right now, yeah, it was. It's been a great experience. I had to go through a lot of hurdles just to continue doing what I'm doing. But I had ran into a lot of good mentors, good people, and I appreciate them so much because they have helped me out a lot. And I will continue to, you know, always push that on other people, especially the ones that got out of prison, because it's like I said, it's hard to get out, but they have grants for this. So that's why I always, every time I see somebody that I know from that gets out, I'm like, dude, what's up? What are you doing with your life right now? Oh, you know, nothing. I'm just right here back on the block. And I'm like, bro, you know, we don't have to go back to that no more, right? I'm like, they got grants. They have everything for us, especially us, which is people that were incarcerated. You know, I'm like, come on, let me show you what. Do you want to come with me real quick? I'll show you. I got you. And sure enough, they'll go. Some, you know, of course, they want to keep their program to continue doing the same thing that they're doing. But, you know, others, they actually do come through it. And I've seen a lot of people come out of this program successful, you know, me.
Hello, I'm Tawana Brown. I've been with Goodwill for 21 years. It's been a pleasure working with Francisco. When I first interviewed Francisco, he's like, I don't know if I can do it, you know, but I got this. I think I can. And I said, you know what? We got you. He said, I don't have too much cashier experience. He didn't really have too much customer service. I said, we got you, Francisco. We got you. So when we trained Francisco, brought him on team, trained him. When we put him up on the register, he was kind of nervous and everything. I said, you got this. Francisco is like one of my #1 cashiers now. Francisco have moved up. He's been doing awesome since he's been with us. He's even talking about moving up to management, and it's possible that he can move up to management. I am so proud of him. He also talking about getting his GED. Goodwill have a program, when you work for Goodwill, they'll give you $500 to get your GED or your high school diploma. He's not even worried about the $500. He just want to get his GED, make himself better for him and his kids. And I am so proud of him. He talk about his sons all the time. He always thank me for, hey, Tawana, thank you so much for the opportunity. I mean, he just like a flower, he just bloomed. I am so proud of him. And I want to thank Lisa for introducing him to me. And Francisco, I don't know, when he came to me, he was just scared. And now he's want to be manager, and we training him to be a manager at Goodwill. It's, like I told him, it's really easy to move up. Just take baby steps, don't rush. And he got this. His customer service skill have improved a lot. We had a dirt bike that we was trying to sell for $600. Everyone kept saying, you ain't gonna be able to sell that bike. Francisco sold that bike the same day that we put it out on the sales floor.
That same night. That's why I said I learned how to switch up the product. That's what I was like, dang, this whole time I already knew all this? Like, that's so crazy to me, honestly.
I just want to say I'm so proud of Francisco, and he got a lot more to learn, but he's gonna make it to the next level. He want to be manager. I'm gonna make sure he's on the management team.
I did prepare a little speech. Okay, so bear with me, guys. All right, so it goes, this past year has been a journey of redemption, growth, and purpose. After serving 7 years incarcerated, I came out determined to change my life and build something real, not just for myself, but for my family. I entered a reentry program through Goodwill that gave people like me a second chance. That program didn't just give me a job, it gave me the foundation to learn new skills, grow as a person, and take steps towards a better future. I've been working for Goodwill for the past year, showing up every day, learning, growing, and proving that I'm not my past, I'm my potential. I've been doing great in school and am now wrapping up my last math course. I'm almost at the finish line, and the progress I've made feels incredible. I also just got approved for housing, which means I'm finally close to having a place I can call home, a space where I can raise my kids with peace, love, and stability. That's been my biggest goal from the start, to reunite with my kids and give them a father they deserve. That moment is finally happening. I'm getting them back, and I'm not just focused on being their dad, I'm focused on being their example. This year, I also became a father again. Gosh. Yeah. Again, to a beautiful baby boy who's now 8 weeks old. I have an amazing partner by my side who supported me every step of the way. Especially after the heartbreaking loss of my dad, she's shown me nothing but love, wisdom, and understanding. She's been my peace through the storm. And I want to give a huge thank you to one of my biggest blessings, my mentor, Nicholas Dumark. Where you at? Oh, there he is. From day one, he's believed in me, guided me, and helped me navigate life after incarceration. His mentorship and friendship have been priceless. I also want to thank Lisa and Tawana for giving me the opportunity to learn, grow, and succeed. They didn't just give me a job, they gave me a chance, and I'm forever grateful. And one more person I want to give the biggest thank you, me. For being my own mentor and keeping myself on the path to success. Through it all, I haven't just worked on myself, I mentored others too. I shared my story to not help only strangers, but also my own kids. They're my why, my motivation, and my heart. This journey hasn't been easy, but it's been worth it. I've turned pain into power, struggle into strength, and my past into purpose. This is just the beginning, and I'm only going up from here. Thank you.
That's a great story. Thank you, Tawana. Thank you, Francisco.
Thank you.
And I've been to the Goodwill retail stores in Palm Springs and Palo Alto, and the one on North Ark will compete with both of those. So
Are they
I
the same
recommend
or
you
what?
go.
What's going on over there in Florida? Do we have competition in Florida?
Yeah, competition, yes.
All right, guys, you know what it is, guys.
No, it's great. So thank you very much. And there's two great stories of, people interestingly training for a certain job and ending up in the perfect job. And it reminds me of something I heard a woman lawyer once who was disabled and she was describing what she would have to go through to get services and stuff. And she said she always had to keep reminding people that I am the expert on me. And I think we could be a little more cognizant of that as we help serve people. So thank you again very much. Let's give one more round of applause. Dr. Cullen, in my experience, doesn't spend any time looking for excuses for why we shouldn't be solving a problem, but looking for how are we going to solve the problem. And worse yet, she returns my calls. I don't know anybody in Tucson who does that. So I'm really pleased that she's here to talk to you today about what the health department's doing. And she's going to be followed up by Kimberly Wang and Ann Hoffman and explain a little bit more about what the health department's doing. And they're doing a great job in a wide variety of venues to help the people of Pima County. So please welcome Dr. Theresa Cullen.
Hey, thanks. All my kids went to school here. I'm a community college graduate. So I love community college. I'm really feel pleased to be invited. I did not flunk bureaucracy school. I just happened to disrupt a lot of things. And I'm really lucky to be in Pima County and work for the Pima County Health Department because I continue to be able to do that. And the reason why we do that is to make all your lives better. We're really committed to those words that are bad these days: diversity, equity, and inclusion. We run our programs with those. I'm not above obfuscating them when I need to, but from our hearts, that is what we are trying to do. I love the work that Second Chance does, and many people know that I have fought with our HR people to say, I want to be an open place for people. I want people to apply for my jobs that have come out of the judicial system. It's really a critical part of what we do. And a lot of that is because of that commitment to improve the health of the community. I have to reflect the community in my staff. And the way I do that is by ensuring that people that have been involved with the judicial system have an opportunity to work with us. What I'm going to do today is just share with you really briefly, because there's two other people from the health department that are going to talk about the programs that we do. I'm just going to give you this overall thing. I always start with a land acknowledgement. I worked at the Thanatham Reservation for about 20 years. Before that, I spent my life on Navajo and Apache. So while I'm a white woman, I'm really committed to ensure equity for tribal nations too. So we put this slide in here for that. And what we are doing, continuing to build a healthy community. All of you are doing the same thing. We all do it in a different way. My husband's an artist, and I'm just going to take a second to tell a story. He gets embarrassed when I tell him. It was a Christmas day. I was really angry. People had forgotten to get something for the turkey. I went to the Safeway. I'm like, are you kidding? It's Christmas Day. Why are we in line at Safeway? And so I'm frustrated and my husband's with me. And obviously the cashier is a little frustrated because everybody's like me, right? Impatient. And he stops and he turns to her and he says, thank you so much. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for working. And I think that that's what it's going to take for us to build a healthier community, to thank everyone, regardless of their past, regardless of the situations they've been in, but to recognize and honor them from a sense of equity and acknowledgement that all of us need second chances. All of us need to do different things in our life. And many of us have been blessed with that. So There's two things I want you to know about the county. One is there's a large prosperity initiative. This is not run by my office, but we are a part of it. And you can see here, it's really to help us create a prosperous community. And what that means, I'm sure you've heard that phrase, a rising tide raises all boats. We have to raise all boats. Everyone deserves to have a humane, fair, just system that they are a part of. And the health department hopefully is a small part of making sure that we rise that tide. Part of what I want to share with you is what we do. We do a lot of stuff, and that's what you said to me. You guys are everywhere. We're really lucky. We have a great staff. We have over 400 people, many of whom are grant funded, but this just gives you an idea of what we do. Many of you probably know us because of COVID and because of vaccines. That's a small part of what we do, though for many people it was the most visible because you got a jab from us. But really, our engagement is throughout the community. It's with the business community, it's with the clinical community, it's with our community health workers who really, in my opinion, are the gems of who we are as a health department. It's making sure that if you have a small business, we can get the regulations through for that if it's a restaurant. It's if you have problems accessing care or don't have health literacy, that we have someone there that can help you meet those needs and work with you to move you forward. We also are really a sharp end of a referral system. We have a referral form online. It gets you about 25 different things. If you fill that in, or if you see it at one of our multiple tabling events, and our community health worker follows up with you, we get you in touch with those resources. Some of the resources we have ourselves, many we are just the conduit to make sure that you get them. But the beauty that the health department is in some ways in the middle. So we really talk about the metaphor that we set a table. We set a table and make sure everybody has a seat that needs it. And make sure that then there's food as a metaphor, services available for you so that you can improve your life, that you can improve the life of your family and of your community. Because ultimately, at the end of the decade, which is where we're really trying to get to improve the health by a decade, is to make sure that everyone has a better chance there. So we do a community health needs assessment. You guys can read this. These are the things that we've focused on that we just discovered in the last year. We do this every 3 years. Basically, however, what we see over and over is unhoused is an issue. Behavioral health is an issue. Substance use disorder is an issue. Access to care, poverty. At the end of the day, many of these factors reflect that. They may reflect adverse childhood events in someone's life when they were a child. And there are these other influential factors as well as social determinants of health that matter. Our goal is to address all of these. Sometimes we're successful, sometimes we're not. But this just got published last month. And what you'll see in the next 2 years is us working with the healthcare systems, with the CBOs, community-based organizations, hopefully with you, to really move and address many of these things. And we have indicators for how we're going to do that. And we can make sure these slides are available. I don't want to spend a lot of time on these, and I'm actually going to quit showing slides now. The reason is because these are how we're going to measure it, right? But at the end of the day, how we measure it is you. You tell us if it's better. You tell us if you feel better. You tell us if you have the resources you need. You tell us if we've touched your life, the life of a loved one. You know, in COVID, what we knew is everybody knew somebody who had been affected. And what we know as the health department is all of you hopefully know somebody who knows somebody who knows somebody. So that 3 degrees of separation as opposed to the 7 that have been touched by the health department, that we have been there for them, regardless of race, regardless of socioeconomic status, regardless of sexual identity, regardless of history of involvement with the judicial system or incarceration. The reality is our job is to create a level playing field. I encourage you to contact the health department. If you know people that are looking for jobs, we have jobs all the time on the website. I have a high vacancy rate. It's about 17% right now. It doesn't reflect you shouldn't come work for me. It just means I have a lot of jobs. But I think at the end of the day, what I want to leave you with is, first off, thank you for everything each of you is doing in your own life. Thank you for being able to have the ability to touch others, to make people's lives better. At the end of the day, I think that that's how we get measured. Did we make it better? So thank you very much.
Thank you. Well, thank you very much, Dr. Cullen. And yeah, we all have a part in supporting the health department, and they have a part in supporting us. Kimberly and Ann, if you could, and Ashley, if you want to come up. As Dr. Cullen mentioned, it just seemed like everywhere I go, the health department was there. We went to a City of Tucson violence interrupter thing at Amphi Park, and the health department had 2 tables. My wife and I went out to Tohono Community College for a wellness event there, and the health department had 4 tables, like they were trying to push all of us out. I don't know what was going on there. But they really are very community involved and really an important resource for all of us. So let me turn it over to. Oh, you're in. Okay. I'll turn it over to Ashley and she'll introduce the people who are going to speak here. Go ahead.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everybody. Hello. So I'm just up here to introduce. First of all, we're going to have Kimberly Wayne. Kimberly is one of our program managers for the Community Mental Health and Addiction Unit for the Health Department.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for being here today. And it was so great hearing from all the great speakers out there and all the work that you have been doing to really make an awesome impact on people's lives. Like to start out with the land acknowledgements, holding equal partnership with our tribal nations. So I'm with the Community Mental Health and Addiction Division here at the Health Department. So we do a lot of substance use and overdose prevention. So this is some of the work that we have been doing. We do have a big data team. So since 2017, it really has doubled in fatal overdose deaths in Pima County. So this is the most current data with 2025 still being certified. And then this was the hotspot map for 2024. So these are where the overdose deaths are occurring the most in the city of Tucson. So when we look at these, we think about what are we doing for overdose response. So our team focuses a lot on harm reduction distribution. So I did bring some naloxone today. So I do have some, if you're interested, I brought 15 kits. So we've been doing a lot of those harm reduction kit distributions in those hotspot areas. I saw City of Tucson here today, and we met with them today to work on some additional collaboration, but we are really collaborating with a whole bunch of agencies. I see CMS as well back there too. So it's really a village coming together and making an impact. So we also have the fatality reviews in our data, and when we look at the fatality reviews and the research, we know that people who are recently released from jail have a higher likelihood of experiencing an overdose because of tolerance and whatnot. So these are the critical touch points where we want to be able to intervene. So we have these Barney stands. So it's that big purple thing. We call it the Barneys because they're big and purple. They are harm reduction stands that we do a lot of the item distributions through. So we have this set up in various locations at the El Rio, and Transition Center is one of those areas as well. So they have the Narcan in there, testing strips for fentanyl and xylazine, condoms, and different harm reduction items. And then have a picture of us doing the tabling out in the communities. And then the picture on the right is where we're actually at 100 Acre during those in those encampments, handing out harm reduction items. So I kind of explained some of this, but this is kind of a huge overview of all the things that we do. Harm reduction, supply distribution. We do have a substance use support team with case managers, peer navigators, and a community health worker. We produce a lot of the educational materials, so you might see our posters or stickers out there. We do a lot of presentations, so not only substance use related and overdose response related, but also some mental health. So we do youth and adult mental health first aid, QPR suicide prevention, and then some of the data surveillance side that I talked about earlier as well. One of the things that I wanted to mention is our newer program, our Suboxone Quick Start program, and this has been working really well with our clinical team. So this is meant to be a short-term bridge for people who are getting out of the jails, who may not have that bridge medication, who need assistance at that time, or to even start someone on that induction process. But we've been working a lot with residential facilities like Via Maria, who receive a lot of the intakes from the jail, and they might not have that medication readily available. So we've been able to partner with Via Maria Transition Center and HOPE to be able to respond and provide those medications at no cost to the individual as well. So I have the phone number if you're interested in calling us to even ask questions or do a quick screening. You can also text us as well if there are any questions. And that sums up what I have to say. So let me know if there are any questions.
The Barney bosses, like with Brian Eller, he was trying to put it like that Casa Maria soup kitchen. So I saw you put those places up. How are you going to expand beyond those places? Or when are you going to expand beyond those places?
So we do have additional Barney stands available. So it sounds like you have Brian's email. So go ahead and email him, and then you can also email me as well. So I can leave some business cards with you, and then we can get that started.
Thank you.
All right, now we will switch it over to Jay Bankhead. Jay is our an operations division manager, one of the deputies for our clinical services unit. Jay?
All right, I'm actually replacing Ann Hoffman today. So I just saw the slides about an hour ago. So I'm going to do my best. Really, my main role is I work with the mobile outreach department. So if you've seen the big mobile vans, mobile clinics, we have one out in front of the campus a little bit today. Really what our goal is identifying what the needs are and looking at those folks who have the barriers to get into the clinic and taking the treatment to them. What I've noticed recently is a lot of times people will take out flyers and they'll give referrals, and that doesn't work for everybody. A lot of folks don't have transportation. A lot of folks are isolated, especially if they're homeless. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to take the care and the treatment and the resources to wherever they are. And so one of the things that was mentioned earlier was 100 acres. That's been kind of one of my favorite things. I've only been here 4 months with the county, but it's definitely one of my favorite. And the reason why is, for me, it epitomizes what public health should be. It is identifying a need in the community, and we move around them. We don't expect them to come to our appointments. We don't expect them to call us and do follow-ups. It's, where are you? We're going to go to you and we're going to ask you, what do you need? If it's a blanket, we're going to take blankets. If it's food and snacks, we're going to take that. And by the way, do you have your vaccines? Do you have, would you like testing? Are you interested in birth control? And so we're taking all those resources on our vans with our clinicians to the encampments. We're taking them to locations where people are living or the low neighborhoods where they live, and we're providing the services right there. One of the things that we're super proud of is that syphilis is very high prevalence in Arizona. And so one of the things we do is we go out and we do testing for HIV and syphilis with a finger prick. Someone comes back positive, we give them a shot right then. We don't make them, hope that's not me. We don't make them come to a clinic, because the treatment for syphilis is 3 shots 1 week apart. The key to that is is sometimes if you don't have transportation and you miss that second shot, you got to start over. So what we started doing is we made sure that we were consistent. We went out with the 100-acre community and we said, for the next 10 Thursdays, we're going to be here at 10 o'clock to 12. So we test people, we find out they're positive, we treat them right there and we say, we'll be back next Thursday to give you your second shot. We'll be back the following Thursday to give you your third shot and complete that treatment. So far, we've completed about 12 patients have got the complete treatment, and we're treating their partners because they're living there. So we're treating the couple, so we're not, people aren't reinfected. The outcome of that is not just the clinical, it's the community relationships and the trust. We're actually going out to people who tend to be shunned. There's a lot of stigma for being homeless. We know them by name. They know us by name. They see the Pima County van pull into the encampment, they come to us. The first few, we had to go out and say, hey, we're here to offer this. They see us drive in, they know it's Thursday at 10, they come to us. We know them by name. Hey, if you've already tested, we've already given you every vaccine, come by and have a snack. Come by and have a conversation. We take a hand washing station out there, something that we take for granted. But if you've been homeless for any length of time, your hands get cut up, they get torn, they're dirty. Returning a sense of normalcy is a huge benefit that we can give them because, hey, take your time, wash your hands, wash your face, and let's sit down and share an orange, right? So we're bringing not just the clinical to them, we're bringing the human capacity and companionship and addressing them as Bob or Mr. Williams. And we're removing that stigma of, we're not going to approach you because we're scared, we don't know about you. We're going to build a relationship. And so when they see our van anywhere around the community, they're welcome to come up and have that conversation. And so it's building that trust from the community in the health department, which historically may or may not have been, at a high level. I saw a guy out there with a Marine hat, so I'm just going to give you a Navy corpsman. So I appreciate you, sir. Anyway, that's what I think the mobile clinic is going to change into, is we're going to ask our populations, what do you wish that we had today? We're trying to include vaccinations so that we're taking vaccinations out to people who otherwise wouldn't get them. We're going to offer them for free on our mobiles. And we're trying to help with the measles outbreak with having go to schools and identifying folks that might want that as well. So I'm a little bit on a tangent, but one exciting thing to share is the fact that the health department mobile outreach is looking for more and more things to do and to really meet people where they're at and offer services with what they need. And so if you ever see a van or a mobile around, please go up and say hello and say, hey, one of the things I'd like my community to have is this. Start communicating and let us know what it is that you really need, and we will do our best to meet that need. Like I say, these aren't my slides. I don't even know what's behind me, but can you go ahead and click through and. So these are some of the places that we go to, parks, homeless encampments. 100 acres is kind of our most prominent one right now, but we're working with the city of Tucson to find other places where folks are and then making sure that we go to them and we're meeting those needs. I want to point out really quick with Healthy Companions. So that's really incorporating the One Health model, where what we do is we go with our mobile clinic, but we also take the mobile clinic for PAC, the animal shelters. And so what they do is the animal relationships with some of the homeless folks, that's family. That's very important to them. So this is an event that really targets the homeless population, unhoused, sorry. But what it does is it takes a veterinarian to provide that care, to provide those shots to their support pets and say, while you're there, let us give you a vaccine. Let us test you. Let us give you wound care. Let us address anything that we can at the same time. It's amazing how a lot of folks will treat their pets first before themselves. And so it's kind of sneaky where you say, hey, let's make an appointment in 15 minutes for your pet. While you're waiting, why don't you come on over, let's take your blood pressure. Let's have a conversation about oral health. Let's have a conversation about nutrition. And so we're just trying to bring that One Health together so that we identify that family unit, whether they're people or whether they're pets, and really put some importance on that. And one of the things we're looking at is if you identify something with a pet, we're trying to incorporate that into the medical record so that that clinician sees they've got a three-legged dog, they've got a pet or something that is important to them, that maybe that's causing an allergy, maybe that's causing specific clinical issues with the human. And it's just incorporating that information into one health unit. So can you click me again, please?
Or did you sleep?
And then these are just some of the things from that holistic approach, is that when you're dealing with a patient, it's not just the diagnosis. There's everything else, all the other variables that go into their health and their lifestyle. So that's what we're trying to address. So if you hear the One Health approach, that's what that incorporates. It's the whole, everything that impacts their health. That might be it. Do you have any questions? Yes, sir.
How can we schedule you, or how can we get in touch with you? We got a lot of stuff going on out in our community, and people come to it, and we get food and clothes, man, but what you bring, we want that too.
Absolutely. So the best way would just go to be on our Pima County website, look up the outreach, and just send an email or a connection with me. I'm so new, I don't have business cards, but just reach out through the county. Connect any way that you know. If you know Brian,
yes,
I work with Brian. Fantastic. Just connect him with me and I'll be glad to reach out to you. We don't do the job unless we know what you all need.
Great.
And so any way that we can get information, like I say, go stop by those mobile vans and give them feedback. We're open and we won't know unless we hear it from the people, right? Any other questions? Yes, sir.
I didn't have a question. I just wanted to tell you, thank you guys.
Oh, right on. Yeah.
What you're doing, you know?
You know, it's one of those things that I mentioned that's the cornerstone for me for public health. Is getting out there and getting busy and getting dirty. And at the end of the day, we're all exhausted, but we've given out blankets and gloves and food and snacks and water, which we all take for granted. But you know, 2 bottles of water and an energy bar might be dinner and breakfast and lunch. So anything you can do, we're out there trying to bring that. And the more that we hear what people need, we're trying to incorporate that with what we bring out to the community. Anything else? Any other questions? Great, thank you.
Want to note that the van is out, but we don't have any clinicians today. It's just for touring, right? The mobile van that's here today is just for touring.
Oh, it was just to kind of show off and let you know that we're out.
So it's still out front if you want to go by and take a look at what you're asking for, but thank you.
All right, well, thank you all for being here today.
Thank you.
And it's great to see such a good turnout. It's kind of chaotic times these times, but today I think was something that will lift all our spirits. So I'm really pleased to have everybody here. I want to thank Pima Community College for being such wonderful hosts for us. We look forward to doing other events here. We've really enjoyed working with them. I want to thank all of the speakers and also the agencies that are here for Interfaith Community Services and Persevere, Bridges to Life, Goodwill, and the Pima County Attorney's Office. I thank Dr. Cullen for making time in her schedule to be here. And I want to thank Miranda Campos, who was really set up everything for this. Has done a spectacular job. Just in closing, again, we have these four subcommittees. We would love to have you help us out. So if you're interested in volunteering, you can go to our website, secondchancetucson.org, and you can find ways to sign up for our newsletter, sign up for volunteering, and also information about the Speakers Bureau. Please check us out on social media, Facebook and LinkedIn. And again, check the website, which will also get you to the social media, but get you to a lot of good links. And for all of you working with these communities, I think if you look at our resources page, you will find that kind of helpful place for you to refer a lot of your clients. And if you are a 501c3, so this is the groveling part, but you know, when it's time for you to figure out who you're going to support, we hope you'll think about Second Chance Tucson. And you can donate online, or you can send a check to the address that's on the website. Again, thank you all for being here today and let's keep up this energy.